Hello and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are going to be talking about how to play Defender Titan. So recently with Rise of Iron dropping, I heard that you're actually going to be needing Kvastov. Well, you don't need Kvastov, but it's a quicker way to get the exotic Kvastov if you already have Kvastov. By dismantling it, you'll get the Kvastov parts, which are needed to start the quest. So what I did was I restarted my Titan because all of his faction ranks were super low, and I didn't really care because I already had 335 gear and I didn't need to do any more grinding. I was a little disappointed that I had to restart subclasses, but along the way, I've been playing Defender Titan and I've realized that it is a lot of fun in both Crucible and PvE. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is the mentality of a Defender Titan. As a Defender, you are going to be much more bulkier than your Striker or Sunbreaker counterparts. So you can get up in people's face a lot better. Now, another thing is, with that, you must utilize your Disintegrate punch a lot. In PvE, I just go for the continuous force barrier that recharges, but in PvP, I like to do the lightning fast handling and stuff because if you just watch, that's without the outlaw, and this is with outlaw and force barrier. The reloads are ridiculous, and it's just such a great tool in PvP. Now, another thing you want to get used to is figuring out which grenade you prefer because each grenade is different and there are better scenarios for each one, but if you don't like that grenade, you're probably not going to get used to it. So just figure out which one you like. I prefer the magnetic because it's a one-hit kill, and I don't really like spike grenade, but some people may like the spike grenade for that wide area. And then the suppression grenade is always good for PvP. I do tend to use that in trials because it's just great for shutting down supers that could potentially wipe your team. Alright, and then we're going to go to Ward of Dawn because this is a great super for PvE, PvP, or just playing by yourself. Because if you watch right here, it resets my cooldowns for my melee and grenade charge, which is such a great utility. So you can blow through both of those really quickly in PvP or PvP, and then immediately get it back. Now, another thing you want to think about when using your bubble in PvP is where it's going to be most useful, and it depends on your game mode. I like to play control, and so it's really good to just put that right on B, maybe have Saint 14 on, because it's kind of buggy lately where it takes a little bit longer to activate, but it's still great. Now, when you do that, though, you have to be careful in PvP of which enemies have their super up. So I recommend weapons that have the scope that tell you who has their super up, because that can be the difference between you popping a good bubble and you popping a bad bubble, because you don't want to pop a bubble with so many people around that have supers that can just come in and wreck you. If you're playing something like Clash or something, if you get it early on, I'd say just use it where you feel it's best. But if you get it around mid game, I'd say save it for when heavy ammo comes up because that heavy ammo can be a big game changer and give your team the mentality it needs to keep pressing forward whether you're down or if you're up to keep that lead. In game modes like Rumble, however, I really don't play a lot of that, but I'd say the same thing. Play it out on where you're holding down the most in the early game, and then mid game save it for heavy ammo. Now in raids and strikes and stuff, you're probably going to get your bubble pretty early on because it's PvE and there are a lot of enemies to kill. But in raids, they're really specific timings for that. And with Rise of Iron coming out, we don't know when we're going to need those yet. But in like King's Fall and Crota, there's still very obvious times where we need that. Crota, most people don't do that anymore, but still, everybody knows, well, most people know, that you want to put that bubble right down where the boomers shoot, and that's only at the end. Besides that, there's really no time needed. And with the Touch of Malice changes that Bungie made in the recent update, Ogres is really going to be a lot different for King's Fall because Touch of Malice takes away the Blessings of Light instantly. So we're going to have to figure out a new way to do that. That's a little bit easier. Probably just LMGs and weapons, honestly. But there are still a lot of parts in King's Fall where the bubble is really needed. Like, if you're doing hard mode and you're not the best players, a lot of people put them both on the center panel for when they're fighting wizards, Or if you don't have a high impact sniper and somebody keeps missing the boomers, they put it down right on the back of the totem. So that's pretty much it for raids and such as of now. But just always communicate with your teammates if you can, which which buff they want, whether it be weapons or blessings. This is barely anybody likes armor, but still just communicate with them because you want to be working for a team. You're a supportive in your face type character, which is hard to understand for a lot of people that you're a support that's in the enemy face, but it's exactly what the Titan defender is. So you just really have to be communicating with your team all the time. You're still a support, and that's what a lot of people need to understand. You're not just going to be on your own all the time because defender, meaning you're defending something, whether it be a point, whether it's being the teammate, but you have to get used to the supportive class and you have to be able to put out the damage that you need. So I prefer shotguns and auto rifles because those are the Titan's weapons, but hand cannons do work really nicely for the Titan 2 because it's quick damage, and if you've got force barrier or something, you don't have to worry about the slow rate of fire because you're doing damage really fast. And so that's probably going to wrap it up for me. And so I'll try to make this into a series because I do play all the classes. I play the hunter the most, so that'll probably be my longest video because I'll probably fit it into all three subclasses or two because I'll probably make a separate video for Arcblade, but for Night Stalker and Gunslinger, I'll probably make that one video because those two are kind of straightforward. I think Bungie kind of messed up the Gunslinger class, but it's whatever. That's just my opinion. I mean, it's still very viable. But yeah, thanks for watching today, and see you next time.